Our first study had to do with the real-world evidence of the use of carfilzomib among multiple myeloma patients with at least one prior therapy across 10 European countries and Israel. We managed to have approximately 700 patients. In total, it was 701, to be honest. And these patients received either KRd or Kd, the vast majority, because we excluded some patients who received other triplets, for example, combinations with cyclophosphamide or pomalidomide. So in total, we had 382 patients who received KRd and 273 patients who received Kd. So the study in general evaluated the real-world effect of KRd and Kd in relapsed refractory patients. Yeah, this study is a standard real-world design that after a period that the patient had to receive at least one dose of carfilzomib, we had a period of recording the data. It was a study that was supported by Amgen. And the main characteristic, the main results is that the KRd patient had received a median of one prior line of therapy, while the Kd patients were more heavily pretreated with a median of 3 prior lines. And I think that this is important because it shows that due to the use of lenalidomide previously, carfilzomib and dexamethasone is probably given mainly in the more advanced disease. High overall response rate was seen in KRd patients with overall response rate of around 84%. It was 68% for the Kd patients, but as I told you, these were more heavily pretreated with 3 prior lines of treatment. And the deeper responses were seen in early lines of therapies for both KRd and Kd, and that is why in KRd we had such a big overall response rate. Regarding the dose that was given on average, carfilzomib was administered per the EU label in KRd cohort, and with those adjustments in the Kd cohort, the median RDI, as we call it, the median reduction that happened in the Kd cohort was approximately 83%. And if we see what's happening in the real world regarding treatment duration, the treatment duration with KRd was 14.6 months, and for Kd 7.5 months, suggesting that what we expected from the clinical trials, more or less, we see in the real world. The safety also was totally similar, and the conclusion of this study is that in this real life setting, the KRd use was in accordance with the EU label, inducing high responses and maintaining treatment for long duration. Compared with KRd patients, on the other hand, Kd was used in later lines to treat older and more heavily pretreated patients with refractory disease. We've seen more or less very good duration of treatment, especially with KRd, which is similar to what has been described in the phase 3 trials, who gave license to the combinations, and the benefit-risk profile of KRd and Kd in the real world was also consistent with the clinical trials results from the 2 studies that I previously mentioned, which were Aspire and Endeavor, respectively. I think that the important result of this study was that the duration of treatment and safety and efficacy of both combinations are similar to the Endeavor and Aspire studies, suggesting that the physicians who deal with myeloma therapy could expect similar efficacy and safety with what they see in the clinical trials. We do know that many times patients who do not participate in clinical trials, the patients that we see every day, have comorbidities. They are patients who cannot participate in clinical trials in a big proportion. And so we are wondering if the results that we are reading or the results that we have seen participating in these phase 3 clinical studies is the same in the real world life. I believe that this makes the physicians to feel much better giving these combinations in the everyday patients with multiple myeloma, and I believe that they could expect similar effects and safety profile and adverse event with what they have read in the phase 3 studies.